going to show you this really soft lilac makeup today, and instead of editing the video down and making it bite-sized, I've just filmed the whole thing with no edits and we can have a big chat along the way. I'm using today these new eyeshadow sticks from Half Magic Beauty, and what I really liked about them, they literally just came yesterday and I was like, oh my god, I've got to try them right away. They're so much more glittery than any other eyeshadow sticks that I have, and I feel like if you're wanting to experiment with a bit of colour or something, they're so lovely. But also, let's say if purple isn't your colour or that's not something that you're looking for, I've tried to just generally give some eyeshadow tips along the way that you could use with whatever you already have. So I hope you enjoy, and let me show you the transformation from scratch. I already had on SPF today. I did like my ears, back of my neck, all of that. I'm just going to top it up a little bit and then give my face a bit of slip for putting my base on. So I'm using the Elemis SPF. I really like this one. I've worn it a lot over the summer because it's quite rich. So even though it's lightweight and it sits well under my makeup, I don't feel like I need a separate moisturiser and the SPF. It just kind of does both jobs. Touch wood, my skin isn't too bad at the moment. I noticed last year and definitely this year that I have now like some thread veins that have come through, and they weren't there before. So even when my skin is relatively calm, the veins show through. So there's always a lot of prominent redness, but the texture that is the bit that annoys me more is in a much better place. It's not as textured, so I'm delighted about that, and that is really just being consistent with my prescription cream. I think when you have any texture with your rosacea, having a great routine does so much for you, but ultimately to actually tackle the texture, it's really important to have the prescription step, and everyone's skin is different, but that's what's worked for me anyway. So I want to use bright colours today, and I want the focus to be on the bright colours. So I don't want loads of complexion on, but like I definitely want to cover this, and I want everything to look fresh but secretly have lots of coverage. So I'm going to start with the CC Nude Glow from IT Cosmetics. This is the shade Light. Now, of the IT CC creams, this is by far the most lightweight. It's meant to be really fresh, almost like a skin tint really. And I love the finish of this all over, but it's not a high coverage. So I'm going to put it all over first, and then I am just going to pat on to the areas where I'm either red already or where I know the redness will eventually show through. Because you know your own face, don't you? And you know where your makeup separates through the day. I am then going to just target that before it happens. I'm a really big believer in that, by the way. If you find that certain parts of your makeup, if there's something that always happens, instead of waiting for it to happen, put a preventative thing in place so that it doesn't happen to you. So for example, if you find that you have a particularly oily T-zone, you might want to use a mattifying primer just in the T-zone, and you don't need to use it everywhere else, because often if you have more of an oily T-zone, let's say, you might have a combination skin type and the rest of your face might be a bit more dry. So it's, you know, never feel in a trap that you have to put everything everywhere. Just put each thing where it needs to go. That is something that I always get from Lisa Eldridge's videos. She often speaks about a patchwork technique, probably far more eloquently than I am, and how she likes to, instead of putting everything all over her client, she'll kind of start with her light layers, then have a little look, see what they need, and just build it up from there. Let me just get a mirror out from here. Just to say as well, by the way, I'm going to try it over the next period of time not editing my videos at all, because the thing is, right, the editing takes ages. It's a really time consuming thing to do, but actually the irony is, to edit a short video might take me a really long time, but to spend half an hour filming this and not edit it at all is going to be far less time consuming than trying to make chops. And actually, I think sometimes it can be quite helpful to see the little errors or see things that I probably don't think twice about, and that's how I do it. And that might end up being the more useful part of the video for someone that is wanting that particular thing, whatever it might be, whatever little step means something to someone else. So these are just going to be big long chats. So actually, while I'm getting my makeup on, let me tell you my thought process at the moment. So essentially, I feel like I inherited a really, really lovely group of people during lockdown. And I also I'm really lucky, I've got lovely friends on here that I've had from before then. But I really noticed in lockdown, we were indoors every day. I filmed loads of videos. I had a really lovely group kind of form, and I've got lovely friends on here now. But the thing is, we're not in lockdown anymore, and I don't have the same hours in the day. My personal circumstances are very different to when we were in lockdown. I've got different care commitments now that I didn't have then. And so I really see and feel through the feedback I get that the thing that I think people enjoy the most that I share is like a long chatty makeup video. But I don't always have the time to do that, in particular if I'm travelling for work, or I've been travelling a lot over the last few months. But they're actually my favourite thing to do as well. I love making them. I love having a little experiment. From a personal perspective, it's really helpful for me for work to try things in the videos, wear the makeup for the day, see what's good, what's not. It encourages more of a chat about, like I was saying a minute ago, if I've done like a full makeup unedited, it can be amazing, the bits that someone enjoyed that I might not have thought about, that then I'm like, oh God, if that was helpful, I can do a whole video on that tangent or whatever it might be. I just haven't had the same hours in the day as then, and it really weighs on me that I know that like that's the thing that maybe you'd like to see more. So I've decided to, one of the things I find myself getting stuck into, you know, when people do these challenges and it's like 30 days of this, 30 days of that. I love those. So I'm thinking of doing a 30 days challenge about just using what you've already got at home, tips and tricks on how to use it. I think it'll be really nice for me to encourage me to experiment with different colours, and hopefully if I'm experimenting with different colours, you're going to watch and think, God, I'll throw that electric blue on today, whatever colour we might be using. So my plan is 30 days of like tips and ideas for how to use up everything you've already got. And yesterday, funnily enough, I met lovely Larry. We had an It Cosmetics pop-up at Selfridges on Oxford Street, and it was like anyone could come along, have a colour match, try a sample of the CC cream, generally just like have a bit of a consultation, have a chat. And the first person there was Larry, who I met a few years ago at Ruth Langsford's Feeling Fabulous event, which to this day is one of my favourite things I've ever done. It was such a lovely weekend. But Larry was saying, I've got loads of stuff at home and I don't know what to do with it. And I said, do you know what? I think everyone is like that. Everyone has loads of stuff at home and they don't know what to do with it. Or even if you haven't got loads of stuff, I bet you've got a handful of really great things that you haven't used to the end that we could breathe a bit of new life into. Side note, Kosas, I don't want to lose my trail of thought, so I need to tell you about this series. But Kosas brow things over the last few months, and this is the kind of thing we can be catching up on when I'm doing these big chatty videos. I have another video in my mind to do about all of the newness that's been happening over the last while, because I think so much of it is just repeating what we've already got, and there's very few launches, say this year, that I have thought that's genuinely something different and filled a gap in the market and we really needed it, and I'm going to go through all of those things with you. I would say that Kosas is one of those brands that I didn't know I needed until it was here. And the brow things I absolutely love. I just feel like I've got the tinted brow gel, the pencil, loads of things from them. They make your brows look lovely and healthy. You can draw them on without them looking too false. And I love that, and I'd really recommend it. But anyway, back to this chat with Larry. We were saying everyone's got stuff and they don't know what to do with it. I think if we just went back to basics, went through just things like a great anti-back spray if you've had a powder for ages and you're wondering if you can still get away with it, what you could do to freshen it up, and which brushes go with which products, that kind of thing. Now, this whole idea was about stuff that you've already got, so I'm going to kick this off at some point. However, I couldn't start it today because the whole point of today's video is something new that I genuinely feel is really different and really exciting. I opened these last night and I was just like, oh, I don't have anything like this. So what I want to have a play with today for the first time is these new eyeshadow ones from Half Magic Beauty. Now, Half Magic Beauty is one of my favourite ever brands. It's like my dream brand in terms of helping any little idea I have in my head to come to life easily. There's a few brands I'm really passionate about. I wouldn't be without IT Cosmetics ever. Look at that, that was 2 minutes doing my skin. I've covered my redness, it looks glowy. I just think that when it comes to like the capsule things of your makeup bag, you can't go wrong with IT Cosmetics. Peaches and cream. I have never been so excited than when I was in Liverpool at uni and first went to Peaches, went and explored that shop. If you are new here, you might not know, I started makeup at Peaches. Basically, I was always going in there, fascinated. I'd set up a blog and I was always asking Kate and Nick, can I write about this? Can I, you know, take photos, all this stuff? And basically one day they called me in after uni and they were like, Rose, one of our girls has to move to London. They've always been like small business, family run. One of our girls has to move to London because her partner has got a job there, and we have been interviewing makeup artists all day and none of them have been like as passionate about the shop as you. Can we train you up from scratch? And that is where I learned makeup. They literally taught me everything. And the Peaches makeup is, there's no pigments like them on the market. There isn't. Every time a new pigment launches, I'm always curious and I'll always have a look. They are the best pigments you'll ever use. No one has lip liners and eyeliners that are that amazing quality and also for a fraction of the price. Like Peaches is just incredible. And the other one that I am as passionate about as IT Cosmetics and Peaches is Half Magic. Now, Half Magic is co-founded by Donny Davey, who was the makeup artist, well, the director of all the makeup and the makeup designer on Euphoria. And that's one of my favourite programmes. And her vision was, when that show aired, everybody loved the bright, colourful makeups and was posting recreations of them online. And she wanted there to be a way for you to recreate them easily and to get all of those looks at home. So they started creating the brand. There's lovely Sam as well, who is in the product development team. Every single time they launch something new, it genuinely fills a gap in the market. And honestly, you can't say that about a lot of brands, because I get it for other brands. Let me start putting some makeup. In fact, I don't want to start putting some makeup on because I want to tell you why I'm excited about these. Honestly, whoever has asked for the long videos, you'll rue the day. The thing is, I find with Half Magic, they wanted to make it easy to recreate those looks, but every single thing is just different than whatever you can always get. So for example, these crayons, everybody has eyeshadow crayons. That's not an unusual thing, but I haven't seen on any other brand, and I really mean that. I'll get some other brands and make a shorter video to compare, and not in like a nasty way, just in a this is genuinely quite a different way. None of them are as glittery as these. Let me show you them on my hand. So we've got, I'll read the colours out, Phobot. This reminds me of Wet Pebble from Half Magic. It's that kind of taupey, mushroomy colour. Do you remember ages ago I said to you, whatever age you are, skin tone, makeup preference, whatever it is, you will love having a mushroomy taupe colour in your makeup bag. Very versatile. This one is called Punk Pony, so obviously that's just crying out for like a Chapel Roan reel, music, all of the above going on. This one I'm really excited to try. I don't think I'm going to use this one today, but we'll see. This one is Cloud Kid. Now we've got Twirlita, a really high shine pink. Like, have you seen anyone else do super glittery colours like this? I haven't. 15 minutes in and I've barely got my base on. Honestly, I don't know how anyone sits through these, but here we are. I'll give it a try. Champagne Snowflake. This is very, very iridescent. I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit cross here. What I am seeing in real life versus on my hand is different. So I'm going to round this up and get going, and I'll film this in a different light for you. This is the one I'm going to use today, the Dreamies. I mean, and that is so holographic when you get it under light, but I'm going to call it a day because we're not under any light. So God knows what I was on about. Let's get some eyeshadow on. Now, because all the rest of my base is fresh, I feel like I want this to be my main moment. I'm going to start, see if I were to follow the natural shape of my eyes. My line is like there. That's like the tiniest little sliver of eyeshadow. And then look at all this that we've got to play with. So I'm going to go higher, but I'll start there and build my way up. The lovely thing about these as well is, and actually something that's lovely about all of the Half Magic glitters, because thus far, apart from the little glitter in a pot, which is pressed anyway, they all come in sticks or gels or things that have adhesive in them, so they're not going to spill all over your face. Now, I'm taking this quite high. If I were to look at you like that, it looks huge, but when I rest and look forward on, this is going to be fine. And they specifically said on the booklet, just use your finger. And I mean, look how nicely that's blended. Love that. Now my eyes, there's a little fine line here that I have to tread, but the shape of my eye kind of goes round here, and then I've got quite a big gap under my brow. So even though it feels a bit alien, I always like to make sure I've filled that gap in, because I want to make the most of all the space there. And I'm just going to see how I feel and how much I'm going to build this up. And really crucially, whoever's creamy stick you're using, I would say do one eye at a time, smudge it, and then do the other eye. Because you want plenty of blending time before it dries. These are really silky. They also feel quite thin. It's more of an iridescent wash. Like looking at it there, it's not like a thick paint. Oh, I love that. I think I've put more on this side though. That though, to be fair, is something to do with the light in this living room. There's been so many times when I've gone to next door and my face always looks a bit lopsided, or I notice when I'm filming my IT videos, one side of my face looks shinier than the other, and it's because the sun comes in from here. So love that. How easy was that to like smush on fingers, not too much else. Am I going to put a bit of pink in this? I think I am. I want to put some pink maybe on the centres of the lids and create like a halo effect. And do you know what I've been trying to do recently is not overthink my makeup. Yeah, that looks nice. Not overthink my makeup and just wear different colours every day. The other morning I was in a bit of a rush. I put on like a green eyeshadow, purple mascara. I had another colour in there, I forget now. But like, it actually all looked quite nice. So I want to try and challenge myself, if I do this little video thing, to use a load of different colours. Because do you know what? Historically, I know from previous uploads that I will get feedback to say, I wouldn't wear that, Rose. That's not for me. That doesn't suit you even. Like, and it's fine when you put yourself out there, you're open to, you know, everyone's allowed to give their feedback, of course. But even if you wouldn't wear these colours, you'll remember that tip about do one eye at a time and don't let it dry. Like, you can adapt all of these to whatever you've got at home. As much as I want to use this on my own, on its own, I have got one of my Glitterpills here that's kind of screaming to be added. So let's put this on. I can be a real overthinker when it comes to my makeup, when it comes to experimenting with colours. So hopefully setting a little challenge for myself will just mean that I let loose a bit and try some different things. And like, what is the worst that can happen? I'm literally meeting my cousin in a couple of hours and having a little bite to eat. I'm not walking a red carpet today. I'm not having a headshot taken that will last me the rest of my life. Although, quite frankly, I absolutely love these colours. Kind of wish I was walking a red carpet today. So, back to my idea, if you're still here 20 minutes in, about this little challenge I'm going to do. What would you like to see? In my head, I'm thinking, right, we need to do all the basics again. Eyeliner techniques, tips for where to place your colours if you have a hooded eye shape so that you can see them more, tips on how to build coverage, tips on how to go for a fresher base, tips on getting your makeup to last all day. What would you like me to do? And we will do it. And basically, I have jigged my time a bit for August so that I'm home a lot more, just for personal reasons. As I say, my setup is different now. I've got a different set of responsibilities than I would have had before. So I'm basically just trying to make my videos as best I can around everything else. So it's a perfect time, really, when I know I'm going to be home more, to get into a little routine. Now, the nice thing about using glitter as a liner, this is from Half Magic as well, by the way, and I should have said, it's the shade Sweet Prince, which is a pink glitter, but honestly, if you saw this in different lights, it looks more purple. And then if you are out of a night and when this hits like little twinkly lights of an evening or something, it's absolutely like my fave. Do you remember, if you have been here for a while, the Glitterpill that I really love is Money Please, which is like a bronze coppery colour. I do love my bronze coppers in general. I keep going to wipe that off and thinking, no, leave it on there. This has replaced Money Please as my favourite Half Magic glitter. I absolutely love it. Oh, I've just remembered, right, the other thing I'm going to use, hang on a minute, am I going to put some purple underneath? No, I don't think I am. I'm going to keep it as it is. I was going to put liner and all sorts. You see, I'm obsessed with Chapel Roan at the moment. She's done so many pinky purple big makeups, but I'll keep this one fresh today because I like how that looks nice and soft, and we'll do some Chapel big ones, because basically another thing I want to do is just go through every single one of her makeups and recreate them. But I am now going to use Ruby Hammer's double-ended brow pomade and mascara, and use this to just pick out every single little lash. Now, another thing I should say, speaking of Half Magic, speaking of Ruby, they are just some of the kindest people you'll find in our industry. And I feel like I've said this before, but the lovely thing about the beauty industry is there's so many different brands to choose from. Whatever kind of makeup you want to go for, whatever look you're going for, whatever your budget is, you will find something for you to match any of those deliverables. But from my perspective, I'm so lucky to get to spend time with people and meet them in person and see what they're all about and see them behind closed doors to an extent. And so I am always really mindful that if you can get similar things everywhere, you would just be so much more inclined to get them from the kindest person. And Ruby and the Half Magic girls are examples of people that you would just support every minute of the day because they're so lovely. So that's always a nice position to be in. The same goes for the It Cosmetics team. The same goes for the Peaches team. The same goes, while I think of it, last week, Sally was here, Sally Hughes, she had like a pop-up. Her brand is in Sainsbury's now, and Sainsbury's had a team day where all the different beauty brands available were having this big expo in Coventry, and they could come and meet the brand and learn all about it, like a big training day really. And so because it was near me, I went with her for the day. And again, Sally is just someone that has the loveliest brand. Everything is really affordable, does what it's meant to do. Simple, easy to use, lovely packaging. But you'd recommend her 100 times over because she's a lovely person. And when you know there are lots of lovely brands that are affordable and this, that, the other, you want to send them to her. So that's nice and fresh. I'm going to put some blusher on today. To be honest, I'm looking at it thinking I'd just wear it all like this. However, when I wear my full coverage, I find that my blusher disappears. So more than anything, I'm trying to experiment with which of my blushers. I have a feeling I'm a real one for using the same brush to do everything. And I think the full coverage of my CC is still on there, and maybe it dilutes my blusher. So I was thinking to myself, right, what are my most pigmented blushes? I've bought down 2 Rare Beauty blushes. I have Hope and Happy, and what my intention was to use Hope all over and put a dot of Happy just to give it a bit of a pop. However, we know with these Rare Beauty blushes, they are super pigmented. So like one little touch of this is actually going to be a lot anyway. So let me just see how that theory goes, and I'll be super gentle. Because I didn't use a full coverage CC, I'm going to use the same brush and just fade that out a tiny bit. Another thing I keep seeing Chapel Roan wearing is like a really purple eye. Obviously this is all super soft. A really purple eye with a pink blush, and it just looks beautiful. Everything is like really cool toned and sits together. This is Happy. Sorry, I'm sat in the front window. I'm so nosy. Anyone goes past with their dog or coming home from school or anything like that, I'm all over it. My eyes will be wandering all over the place, just seeing what everyone's up to. No, that is so lovely. Now, did you notice I haven't powdered yet? There's been a bit of a powder change around here. So, last year, I don't mean to keep harping on, but like I just feel like all of this information is relevant. And to be honest, we're 27 minutes in now. So if you are here at 27 minutes in, I feel like you know me well enough that I feel okay saying it. I had a really stressful year last year, and I saw it in my face. I saw more lines. I looked haggard in myself. Not from the lines, that was the wrong thing to say. I just noticed I looked generally a bit grey and haggard. I did see a difference in my lines, and everything looked a bit tired. It was written all over my face. So it's getting a bit better. I spoke to Dr. Justine Hextall, who I love, and I was telling her all of this, and she said, do you know what, Rose? That happens to people. When you are stressed, you start to see it in your face. But she said when you're not stressed, it will go back to normal again, which I thought was really lovely and really reassuring. So my face has started to go back to normal again. I know all this sounds like, you know, but you know it in yourself, don't you, when things aren't sitting well and all of that. What was my point going to be? My point was going to be powder. Things sit differently on me now that they didn't used to. So I've become a real, where have I put it? It's on the floor. Oh, I've got one here to show you. Become a real setting spray girl. I do still use powder, but I try and use more spray than I do powder. And I find that it lasts really well to top everything up. So I leave my base as long as possible. Now that that's set a bit, I'll see where the powder's needed, and then I'll set it with spray. But before I do that, I'm going to finish my lips. Now, another new exciting Half Magic launch. All of this came yesterday and I knew I had time to film today and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so excited. So Half Magic do these double-ended lip liners called Sculptitude, and you have 2 different colours, and more often than not they are in a family that like you have a nice deeper and lighter shade that will complement each other, and sometimes they're both just really bright pops of colour, but essentially really good little combo. Now I love, you know me, never shut up about Half Magic. I love the existing Sculptitude liners, but the kind of colour that I gravitate to a lot, this kind of soft, cool, rosy shade, they didn't have in their previous lineup, and they've just made it. It's like the shade I've been waiting for. So I've taken the bloody lids off. Prancing Queen. Prancing Queen, I put it on my hand last night and I was like, this is my colour. Let me put this on and then I'll tell you. I do have like a glossy balm on. So you'll be getting a slightly glossier version of this, but I'll show it to you another day with nothing on. Just going over the natural line there a bit. Now, interestingly, there's 2 shades in this duo. There's Prancing Queen, and then I'll show you a little bit of Emo Rose to give you an idea. Slightly deeper. I've got that bloody oil on though, so again, I'll show you this on dry lips. But, oh yeah, you can see that. Lovely. And again, I've got my lips on, but we're not taking away from my eyes. They're still the star attraction. I feel that the textures of these, Prancing Queen is slightly creamier than the other Sculptitude liners, I would say, and Emo Rose is slightly firmer. And what I think this lends itself really well to is if you line with the Emo Rose, it's that bit firmer and it's not going to move anywhere, whereas you've got the slip on Prancing Queen that will give you a bit of comfort on your lips. So let me show you what I've been doing powder wise. Tiny bit of powder on a small brush. These brushes, I've had them, I would say, over 10 years, and they were a few pounds. Do you remember Crown brushes? I don't know if they're still going. That's where I got these from. But that kind of size, and I'm going to take, again, I'm not super oily now, but it's melting outside, so I know that I will be. I'm going to take that through the centre of the face. And another thing I would say, if you're someone that likes CC Nude Glow, you will know that it is so luminous. So you want the glow, but you also want it to like calm down a smidge. So a tiny bit of powder to take away from the T-zone means that everywhere else can stay nice and glowy. I'm going to use, this is the vitamin C version of the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. As someone that never used to be that bothered about them, and I'm now a full convert, I would say, I've always said, the All Nighter sprays are brilliant. Hang on, I haven't opened this one yet. Let me give it a little spray. There we go. And don't be shy, like get it right on there. I'll give that a minute. They're also lovely for refreshing your face if you have been powdering or you're just a bit dry that day or whatever. They're great. And then I don't feel like I'm going to put anything else on. I've got my little pop of colour there. We've had a chat. We've had a huge chat. You'll be actually like, you've probably taken the dishes out, put 3 washes on, gone to bed for the night and woken up again by the time I'm finished. Oh no, there is one more thing. Why stop at 34 minutes when we can absolutely carry on for more? I bought in a freckle pen because the weather's nice and I just thought, yeah, freckle pen weather. So I am going to just put a few of these on. and then like blot them out with my finger. I want to say this is from Lottie London. I'll have a look in a second. I've had it for ages. I was actually looking for lash glue, which I couldn't find, but then I remembered I know where it is in my kit that I haven't unpacked yet. And so I thought, right, if we're not having lashes, let's get a few freckles on. Let's get an absolutely enormous splodge of freckles on our nose. That's a good idea, isn't it? My God. There we go, got rid of that. Do they look really fake? Don't even answer that, because we all know the answer, don't we? Let's just pat all this out a bit more. Keep an eye on the neighbours and it'll all be okay. There we go. I'm happy with that. So listen, has been lovely chatting. I am going to get cracking on this 30 days of using everything at business, and I'm also going to make that video about the newness that's great, because if there is new stuff that's great, I'll obviously tell you in case you fancy something new and fancy a treat. But otherwise, I think general rule, let's just use what we've all got. We've all got too much. We'll all have plenty to do something nice, and let me know anything that you want to see. But listen, have a lovely rest of your day. I'll chat to you soon, and you'll be sick of seeing me by the time I've gone through all of these.